Hello and welcome to an album a day 347. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate, and those others, happy Thursday. Got a special one today. I thought I'd save this for Christmas because to me this is one of the definitive Christmas, non-Christmas music albums. This is one that I got into the year that I was laid up from school for a while because I had had a back injury. And I remember there were a couple of albums that I listened to quite a bit, and this was the year that I really got into this album. In fact, the very first song I ever sat down and wrote down what the lyrics were to, although incorrect, was one of the songs on this album. I'm talking about the reissue of Uriah Heep's Demons and Wizards. Do you feel a little unbalanced here? See, if you're a drummer, you kind of do everything so that it's symmetrical. You would have like another one over here. But anyway, yeah, this album is great. Now, I based the Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast off of this series of CDs that were the deluxe editions that had the bonus tracks. So you had some outtakes, some, the 45 versions or single releases that were edited down. You have outtakes, you have tracks that weren't released. You have all kinds of cool stuff. And that's what I based the whole podcast around. So this series is particularly important. But the song Poet's Justice is one of my favorites. And that was the first song that I ever transcribed lyrics to. And I even did an Ask Mick before I started the podcast. I had sent it in because I couldn't figure out how to reach him. And I saw that there was an opportunity to at least ask him a question. So I did that. And then right after I sent that in, figured out how to contact his management to get an interview with him, which I did on the Hask and Cast podcast. That led to me asking him about doing a Uriah Heep-based podcast. And a podcast was born. 403 episodes later, podcast is done unless they record another album, which of course I think we're all hoping that they do. But anyway, some killer tracks on this. We open with The Wizard, well-known piece. Traveler in Time, excellent. Easy Livin', one of their most popular tunes. Poet's Justice, of course, one of my favorites. Circle of Hands, love that song. Rainbow Demon, excellent. All My Life. Doesn't really fit the theme of the album, I don't think, but it works anyway. Then we get Paradise / The Spell. They're listed as two separate tracks, but they blend into each other. Then for bonus tracks, we get Why. We get a previously unreleased version of Rainbow Demon, Proud Words on a Dusty Shelf, which would then be one of Ken Hensley's solo album titles. We get Home Again to You. Absolutely love that song. Only heard it when I got the first deluxe edition, not the remastered deluxe edition, which is this one. It's a slightly different mix on this one. I actually prefer the original remastered version that had it to this, and I think that's the version I used on the show. And then we get Green Eye as our final track. Very special album to me, and it kind of looks a little bit like it's snowing, so that kind of goes with the Christmas theme a little bit. But I thought, since this is Christmas Day, what would be kind of fun is to go over a couple of other albums that I relate to Christmas. I've done a few episodes on the Hask and Cast podcast about this, but I thought, this would be kind of fun while I've got you here. So I don't even remember what order I have these in, or if they're upside down or not, because apparently they're upside down. But we're going to start with Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery. I don't remember years. Some memories I have tied to a specific year, but mostly I just have the memory. And I remember I want to say I was probably somewhere between 10 and 12. And I remember this one particular Christmas, we had really gotten our album collecting in a pretty good spot. We had a lot of good albums, my brother and I. And I remember Carnival 9 was one of the ones. There's this really cool electronic drum bit in there that I really liked. So Brain Salad Surgery would definitely be on that list. Another one, of course, there's I Believe in Father Christmas, Greg Lake's amazing song. I don't think it's on this album, or maybe it is. Let me see. No, of course, the print's too fucking small to read, but whichever album it's on, Still You Turn Me On is definitely another Christmas song for me. If I haven't already put that into one of my Christmas episodes, it will be there, I'm sure. So excellent album. I also got out the Uriah Heep album because I didn't realize I was going to tie that into the CD, but what the hell. I also have the picture disc from the Everyday Rocks box set, which is just awesome. Another very important Christmas album for me would be the third Deep Purple album. I remember this is a painting by Hieronymus Bosch that where are they? Oh, they inserted themselves into that. That was not real. That didn't really happen. And this was before Photoshop. So it took a little effort. This one, of course, I have on the Tetragrammaton label, but this one, I used to listen to this in my room with just the Christmas lights on. Typically a red string. I think that's all I had for years, which is one red string of Christmas lights. And I used to sit on the floor and do my stretches for martial arts that I was learning, and or I just used to sit there and drum along to it on the bed on my little wood and rubber drum pad that I got in 5th grade. And I mean, songs like Chasing Shadows, Blind, Bird Has Flown, there's some excellent stuff on this album. A lot of people take the first 3 albums and kind of set them aside because they were very different. They're psychedelic. They're a whole different kind of music. Before they got Ian Gillan, I would easily argue that Rod Evans could have been a crooner if he was out around that same time, but he had the voice for it. It would be neat to actually hear some Rod Evans Christmas songs. And I'm still hoping that he is the man under the spacesuit on Whoosh. But anyway, we love you, Rod. We would love to hear from you. Great stuff on here. Definitely one of those albums that reminds me of Christmas. And my last one, maybe the most definitive Christmas album. If I would have gone with a live one, I would have gone with Rainbow on Stage, because that was one I really got into around this time. Stone Cold, the EP, the 12-inch EP that had Power, and can't remember what else was on that I've got on the shelf. Would have been one I listened to around that time. Do the Donkey Kong from the Buckner and Garcia Pac-Man Fever album, because I got that as a 45 for Christmas, along with a book on how to beat video games, which gave you some good strategies, but didn't give you the quarters to really play them out. Still trying to beat Scramble. I found an online version of it. The thing about those video games, though, from the 80s that I realized what makes them difficult to play is that you get so used to now the smooth scrolling action, how easy it is to have simple graphics, but they can do a lot. Everything was so pixelated back then. They're very rigid. They don't have the smooth controls. They're a little challenging. In the last stage, before you get to the final boss in Scramble, you have to navigate a very narrow passage, and I have not yet been able to beat that. But one day I will, because I beat Pitfall. I beat Pitfall 2, Amadar. There's something else I beat this year. I can't remember what it was, but I beat all those games, and finally, after all these years. And so I know I'll get it eventually. But my last album, most definitive Christmas album, had the pleasure of interviewing one of the people on this album a couple of times on the Haskincast podcast. You guys all know it, except for Corey, who needs to check this album out. I'm talking about Rainbow Rising. Whenever I hear this album, starting with Tarot Woman, going into Run with the Wolf, I mean, everything on this album for me, definitive Christmas music. And while it's not the most listened to album in my collection, it is definitely in the top. I would say my most listened to, as I've said before many times, Rainbows Down to Earth. Just got to meet Don Airey last year for the first time, so I've now met 3 of the 5 members that were on that album. Absolutely fantastic work. But this one, it's just amazing. I mean, Do You Close Your Eyes? The only one that maybe you could argue theme-wise doesn't fit. It doesn't have that mystical atmosphere to it. But you could certainly say Tarot Woman, Run with the Wolf, maybe Starstruck. I could also argue, because it's kind of about a fan and not about mystical. But you could also say there was a spell cast on her and kind of fit that in. Do You Close Your Eyes? Not so much. But then on the other side, you get Stargazer, one of the most famous Rainbow songs, if not, epic rock songs in history, and Light in the Black, which is just the amazing continuation of Stargazer. But yeah, from the album cover to every little bit of the music, got to interview keyboard player Tony Carey a couple times. Super nice guy. Great musician on his own. If you've seen his solo career with songs like I Won't Be Home Tonight, Vigilante, Why Me, Fine Fine Day, playing with the Mandoki Soulmates, some great stuff that he's done, Planet P and the Planet P Project albums, just some really, really great stuff, some themed albums with there. I love a good concept album. So lots of great stuff for Christmas, guys. I just thought I would share some of those with you today. I hope that you're all having a wonderful holiday. I appreciate everyone who has taken a moment to wish me a happy holiday, send me a little GIF GIF on my text or to my email, whatever. Thank you guys. It's been wonderful. I'm actually going to be spending the rest of the day working on writing my new album and testing a new piece of software that I'm really excited about. So we will see you guys tomorrow for another episode, and I hope that you guys have a great day. Cheers.